It's recording.
Okay. Showing everybody there. Show we have enough people. Here's my notes. My one card. Thank you all for coming. I know it's kind of short notice for some. So this day and age, there are millions of digital cameras out there. They come in all kinds of shapes and sizes and different forms. We have them in our cell phones, have them on iPods, we have them in our tablets. They go from every. We have digital cameras that are pocket-sized, point-and-shoot cameras, all the way up to large format cameras that professional photographers use. The one thing with all those cameras is the photographer has to compose the photograph. Several years ago I took a photography course from the New York Institute of Photography, and the first lesson we talked about was composing a photograph. Over the next several minutes I'm going to talk about the three general guidelines that they put forth for composing photographs. Those are: know your subject, draw attention to your subject, and simplify your subject. The first guideline of know your subject is before you even hold the camera up or get ready to push the shutter button, you need to know exactly what your subject is. Many times people don't define exactly what their subject is, and they get other subjects in the photograph, and the two compete back and forth. So again, the first thing is to know your subject. When you're done with once you've defined your subject and know exactly what the subject is, the next step is to draw attention to your subject. There's several ways that you can draw attention to your subject. A lot of times with especially kids that we have here, they're quick moving. You're taking photographs of kids doing sports, anything like that. The quickest way there is to fill the frame with the subject. That way there's nothing else in the frame to distract from the subject. Second way is excuse me. The second way to do that is by using what's called the rule of thirds. What you do is when you're composing the photograph through the viewfinder or the LCD screen, you divide the screen up into thirds, both vertically and horizontally. Where those lines intersect is where you want to place your subject. If you look on the internet, there's all kinds of articles and whatnot about the rule of thirds. I found a really good one at Photo Info about that. The third way is to blur the background. That way, when we look at the background, our eye focuses on what's in focus, not what's blurred out. We can do this by, one way is using a larger aperture when we take the photograph. The other way is to use a telephoto lens. When we're talking about using a larger aperture, it's important to remember that when you go to set the aperture on your camera, that the smaller numbers are the larger openings, and the larger numbers are the smaller. So an aperture setting at 2.8 would be a larger opening than, say, a 16. The fourth way we do that is, the fourth way we draw attention to our subject is to frame your subject. A lot of times you'll see pictures of people as they're sitting in doorways, or maybe they're in a window of a building. That's one way. Also using trees outside to frame your subject. You have the trunk of the tree on one side of the frame, a branch coming through at the bottom of the frame, and our subjects in between, or in the middle of it. The third guideline is to simplify your subject. Basically what we want to do when we simplify the subject is get rid of any unwanted objects. If you're taking a picture of your kid in the backyard, having the lawnmower right there is distracting to the photo, so we need to get rid of that. A lot of times we can't move our subjects. Maybe our subject's a statue or a tree or something to that effect. So what was it? So we need to, sorry, let me back up again a little bit. We need to move our if we can't remove the objects, we need to remove our subject. A lot of times, like trees growing out of our subject's heads or telephone poles, we look beforehand and move our subject, and we'll have those distractions. Next is, if we can't move the subject and we can't remove the objects, go ahead and move the camera. A lot of people like to stand right where they're at when they take a photograph. They don't look around, they don't, they just want to stay right there and shoot a picture from wherever they're at. Move the camera, move your angle, your position of the camera. You can shoot the subject from a higher position. A lot of times, shooting a subject from a lower position adds a lot of emphasis to it. Also, changing from a horizontal composition to a vertical composition will cut out a lot of unwanted objects in the photograph, especially if our subject's standing up or is a tall vertical subject. The last one is simply move the camera to a whole new, move the camera around the subject and shoot it from different angles. Jim Moyke, in his book, The Better Photo Guide to Digital Photography, points out a lot of the different ways that you can add drama to your photographs by simply moving around the subject and taking multiple pictures. So, what we've talked about the 3 general guidelines of photography composition. We talked about knowing your subject, drawing attention to your subject, and simplifying your subject. Next time you go out and you're taking pictures, and say you're baby there, try these techniques. I almost guarantee that you're going to be much happier with your pictures. Thank you.